Today on Conversations That Convert, we're going to talk about how to prepare for the upcoming housing correction. Let's get started.
Welcome to Conversations That Convert. Every week, we'll spend about 10 to 15 minutes tackling relevant lead generation, marketing, and sales topics for remodelers, home improvement companies, and home builders. Conversations That Convert is brought to you by Builder Lead Converter, your perfect sales assistant. And now, here's Rick and Diana.
Good morning and good afternoon if you're on the East Coast. Welcome to Conversations That Convert. Diana, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. And how about you?
Very fine, thank you. Wonderful to see you again and
Mhm.
so excited about today's show. We've got some great stuff. What are we talking about today?
What to expect from the upcoming housing correction, and that is part two.
That's
We
right,
should
part
say.
two. Last week we did part one, and we're going to go through again part two here today as far as helping you prepare for a housing correction in your local market. So this is all part of our Builder's Guide to Recession Proof Your Business series, and we're going to look at three more key moves that home builders and remodelers can make to prepare for the impact of a recession on your local housing market. Now, Diana, who is your favorite electric vehicle car maker?
Well, mine is well, it's I think it's not like yours. It's a BMW.
Oh no, we gotta focus on. We're gonna talk about Elon Musk, our
Yes, yes,
our Tesla
yes,
manufacturer. Of course, you drive a BMW. If people
yes.
don't know it, electric car, no less. But this is all based on Elon Musk predict, prepare, and persevere, or
Yeah.
PPP strategy. So we've been spending episodes on each one of these. How does a home builder predict and or remodeler predict? Excuse me, for a housing recession. How do you prepare for it? And then we're going to talk about next week, beginning next week, to persevere through it. So we call it the PPP strategy. So Diana, what do you think? Should we review the three moves that we talked about last week?
Yes, please do that. Start with the first three, and then we'll continue with the next three.
So we started with last week looking at where to start to reduce your credit lines, pay off loans, and conserve cash. And then we discussed how to get in front of the market versus chasing it down. This is probably really the critical mistake that a lot of builders make, is that when it's time to reduce price, they do it too slow and too late. So what that causes is you're chasing the market down, and then that just causes you to pay a lot more interest and or opportunity costs on the money you've got tied up in spec homes that you're trying to move, or land too that you're trying to move. And then the third one was we talked about reducing overhead and really trying to categorize your employees and move on from those employees that maybe fall in the bottom tier of your grouping. So what do you say, Diana? Should we talk about 4, 5, and 6?
Yes, I'm curious. So what's number four?
All right. Well, number 4, we're going to talk about adopting a market-based pricing versus cost plus for spec homes. So market-based pricing versus cost plus for spec homes. Now, you're a remodeler, you're like, I don't build spec homes. Yep, I get it. But if you're a home builder, you may or not build spec homes. But spec homes are still, no matter what the market is doing, spec homes are still a viable way to burn through land inventory and or fill in production gaps and just meet the market. There are certain markets where people don't want to wait to build, and if you're not in the spec home market, you're never going to capture that market. So even if the market's going down, we still want to look at spec homes. So number one, what is market-based pricing versus cost plus? Well, most builders, when they build a spec home, simply look at the cost sheet. They put their markup on there so they get their anticipated net margins and or gross margins, and then they build the home, and that's how they price it. So market-based pricing is where you actually look at the value of that home before you build it, or when it's completed, you evaluate where's the value of this home based on recent sales in the marketplace. So we call it a CMA, or competitive market analysis. That's what realtors do when they price homes, and you need to do the same thing for when you're building spec homes. So a couple of things to keep in mind when it comes to spec homes. Um, First of all, if you're going to build a spec home, you need to upgrade your location. And so what I mean by that, Diana, is that a lot of times you build spec homes maybe in locations that have lower demand, and so you're trying to burn through some of those lots. So we're going to grade our locations A, B, C, D, E, or maybe A through D. You want to build spec homes in A locations now. Then you want to look at the individual lot you're building on. Most of the times a spec home is built on a lot that is less desirable. We want to build it on a lot that is more desirable. So when that spec home was completed, it's in a high demand area and it's in a high demand lot. Even if that pushes the price of that spec home, as long as you're doing your research and you're filling a gap in the marketplace, that's okay. Again, because it's going to have more appeal to it, a higher emotional appeal when it's completed. Any thoughts on that, Diana?
Oh, that's very interesting. So it's worth the risk if it's a good location and the lot it's on demand. So
Yeah, exactly. One of the things that a lot of builders get mixed up in is the market drops. They think they need to drop prices across the board on
right.
everything. But sometimes you get a lot of people that are all dropping down to a certain price tier. And what it does is that it raises inventory levels of that price tier, which makes it more advantageous for the buyer because there's more choices.
Yeah.
So that slows down absorption. That causes interest costs, higher interest costs, and it's just going to be more competitive for you. So you look for gaps. Each
Yeah.
market has these gaps. So you find out where is that hole in the market where there's still demand, but there's not a whole lot of inventory, and you can adjust your offerings in there. So sometimes you go up. You can go up a price category. Now that usually means you have to do some sort of an improvement on the home. And a lot of times what I like to test is that improvement would be something on paper. So here's an example. If I live in a certain warm market climate, pools are very desirable. So
Yeah.
maybe I have a spec home that doesn't have a pool built yet. So what I can say is that I'm going to add $50,000 to the cost of this home, and I'm going to include a pool in it. So now on paper, it looks like there's a pool on this home, and I go up a price category, and that becomes something that's more desirable to a specific type of home buyer. If it doesn't work out where I still don't sell the home, I can always remove the pool because it's just on paper. I can drop the price down and go into a different category without a pool.
I like
If you're
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like you're in a cold market climate, like I'm not, you're in Romania, you have older homes there, but if you're in a cold market climate, we put in basements because we have to protect the basement or the footings from cold temperatures. So in a cold market climate, I could do the same thing with a basement. I have a foundation, it's unfinished. I could say, you know what, I'm going to raise the price by 30, 40, $50,000. And I'm going to say it includes a bedroom, a bathroom, another living area, and so many square feet. And so the price goes up, but at the same time, the average for the cost per square foot goes down because when I finish a basement, it's much less expensive than if I were just building the home from scratch. So I'm doing that with one client right now, where we've got some spec homes, we're playing with the market. So we're going up with some, we're testing it there, we're going down with others. And if you have more than one spec home that you're trying to sell, by creating a bigger spread between the two, that helps differentiate them and it will help sell one. So this particular client, we have two homes in the same area that are essentially competing with one another. So instead of trying to price them identical, which is the mistake too, because if a buyer doesn't see any difference, that causes them to contemplate versus make a decision. So what you want to do is you want to provide a clear difference. So we took one home up by adding a basement on paper. It's not really there, but we say we're going to include this. We went up, and then we took one that's down. So now we're $40,000 apart for a very similar home. So that allows us to test both markets, and hopefully we'll get one sold, and then one that sells. That'll give us direction of where we should go with the one that still is for sale.
Nice strategy. And now let's move to our fifth move.
Yeah, number 5. So we want to plug your organic lead opportunity leaks. And when I say organic lead opportunity leaks, in the last 2 years, most builders and remodelers really haven't had to do a whole lot as it relates to lead generation. There was so much demand in the marketplace, the leads came to you. You didn't really have to work at it. What that led to, of course, is opportunity leaks. And I say opportunity leaks is because you have opportunities and all of your different platforms. So if you have a sign up, you have a potential to get a sign call. You have a website up, you have a potential to get a website lead. You have a social media platform, you have a potential to get a lead from social media, as well as ads and so on and so forth. So organic opportunity leads are any way that a lead would find you organically. So in other words, it would be a non-paid strategy. The biggest opportunity leaks that I find is in your website. And one of the things you need to look at is how many years has your website been around? In other words, when's the last time it was rebuilt, revamped? What I say is the rule of thumb is 2 years. Every 2 years, you should be updating your website. So the first thing I would do is update your website, focus on improving the look and the user experience. So technology continues to evolve when it comes to websites. So you have to just continue to update it to keep up with that technology. Continue to improve that user experience, because the key is, if you're going to get a lead on your website, you got to keep the person on your website. A bounce is when they come onto one page and leave from the same page. We want to avoid bounces. We want to keep them on the site. So go into page 2, 3, and 4, etc. The other thing that I want to do from an opportunity leak standpoint is that I want to improve my follow-up and conversion funnels. So most builders are still relying on the human or organic follow-up. So the problem though is that cannot be done on a timely basis. So question for you, Diana, what is the amount of time that a builder or remodeler should strive to reply to a new lead? So in other words, a new lead comes in, how much time should pass before the builder or remodeler replies?
I can say immediately that's the ideal answer, but I'd say no more than 24, 48 hours.
Yeah, and
So
that's what most builders think is 24 to 48 hours. In truth, you want to do it in 1 minute.
1 minute.
In one
Okay.
minute, yep. So the problem with an immediate response is then the lead knows it's automated.
Right.
If you wait 1 minute, then it looks like it's organic. So
That's
you want to make your responses
precious.
organic as well. So you want, yeah, wait about 1 minute and get back to them. And ideally, you get back to them with more than one platform. So you need to update that, and that's all about setting up a conversion funnel. Now that's kind of a weird term, conversion funnel. But conversion funnels are simply, what is the plan for taking that lead to an actual conversation? So when somebody comes into your website and they say, here's my information, I'm interested in this, you have to go through a series of steps in order to get them on the phone, to qualify them, and then confirm if they're a viable prospect. So you need to set up a funnel for that. The worst that you can do is not have a funnel and have it completely relied on, say, the human, one person doing it. The problem with relying on a human is that humans, we make a lot of mistakes, we get busy, we forget. We want to remove that human element. So we want to automate that conversion funnel and really then measure our effectiveness, which each way that we follow up with that lead. And then finally, we want to reach out to past clients. And organic lead opportunity leaks, there's a huge opportunity for past clients for getting reviews, for getting referrals, offer additional projects. If you're in remodeling or even home building, is, say, hey, look, if you're ready to build a home again, if you are ready to start another remodeling project, you have an opportunity for them. So you have a built-in database of people that already like you, trust you, and know you. They see the value of what you're doing. Why not target them to get more business?
And then move number 6.
Yeah, so move number 6 is counterintuitive. So most of the time when we see the market cooling off and we see less business coming in the door, we tend to pull back on our marketing budget. We spend less. We actually need to spend more on our marketing budget. And the reason is that it's just going to be harder to get business.
Yeah.
So when business is good, we can spend essentially almost nothing because people are coming to us. When the market gets tough, there's a lot more competition for a fewer amount of buyers. And so we need to have more exposure to those buyers on different platforms in order to get a limited amount of opportunities. And so we have to spend more. Now, here's where most of the time builders think they should go first. First, I think, oh, I should start running ads. So they just start running ads and then they just throw money at it and it's very expensive and there's very little return on investment. And a lot of times it's not tracked properly. So where you want to increase your marketing budget first is for organic SEO, which is search engine optimization. When somebody finds you organically, the conversion percentage goes up dramatically. And organically means that they do a Google search for you, they find you on your social media platform, uh, they see your sign. It's they're looking for something where they're searching you out. They find you organically. Paid ads is what's called interruption marketing versus permission-based marketing. So interruption marketing, it's always a lower conversion because you are interrupting them. So really the desire of that lead is not as high as somebody that's searching you out. So organic SEO first, and again, budget wise, you probably need to prepare, somewhere between, I'm guessing, 800 to probably 1,500, $1,800. It depends on how competitive your market is and what you're trying to rank for as far as services and locations. The As an example, let's say you're in a major market like Houston. Trying to rank for custom homes or kitchen remodeling in Houston is going to be very expensive. It's going to be hard to do. But if you were to go to some of the smaller communities around that Houston market, much easier to rank for. And there's still people that are living in those communities that need to remodel their kitchen. So that's what I would suggest then. Once you get your organic SEO done, then you would move over to paid ads. So if we go back to plug in your organic opportunity leaks, again, start with your website, your any organic traffic you're already getting, your social media presence, focus on your current past clients for getting referrals, second projects, so on and so forth. And then what you want to do is you want to boost your organic SEO and paid ads. And don't forget, if your website is more than 2 years old, it's time to rebuild it. Any final thoughts, Diana?
Yeah, it struck me that only 2 years now the technology is available, and then you have to review it, or or it's a continuous learning and continuous work to update and be up to date with everything that's happening
You
online.
know, I think websites are the good metaphor of that is to look at design. So home design changes constantly. So
Yeah,
what was really popular 2 years ago from a motif standpoint, even products, it changes all the time. Car manufacturers do the same thing. They have to come out with new models every year to create a reason for somebody to actually buy a new car. Because otherwise, if the car is the same year in and year out, well, why would you buy a new car?
yeah,
So a website is just like that, is that not only from a functionality standpoint, but also from a look and feel. Websites are evolving as well. Look and feels change, and what was once popular and trendy is
yeah,
now outdated and old. And so subconsciously, what you're doing is when that lead lands on the website, you're telling them, you know what, we're really not up to date. We're really not up to speed as some of our competitors. And it's really a ding against you right from the start. So yes, your website needs to be updated. You should have a fresh social media presence. This means you're posting regularly. Ideally, you have a blog that is updated regularly. The information on your website is updated regularly. But most importantly, it looks and feels relevant because it's looks like a modern website that many other types of businesses are using.
oh, thanks for sharing, that's very valuable.
Absolutely. And if you'd like to schedule your strategy call to find out how we can help you prepare and prosper in a recessionary housing market, go ahead and just click the link right below here, and we'd be happy to help you do that. So, for my brothers and sisters in Christ, may the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with you all always. We will see you next time on Conversations That Convert. Bye bye.
Bye.